Last year, I had the most amazing trip and captured the most amazing footage of my life. This was on our big overlanding trip to Wyoming in 2024, and I've been filming these outdoor adventures I go on with my family. For the last 5 years or so, they're always my favorite projects because they combine my love for the outdoors and spending time with my family with my love for filmmaking. And those things don't always collide all the time, so they're always really fun. And today I want to take you guys behind the scenes, showing you what it's really like to shoot a more professional level vlogumentary like this, kind of the ins and outs of how I get the shots I get and why I get them. What? Let's go! Now, if you're anything like me and watching behind the scenes content makes you want to watch the full video, I'll link the Wyoming trip films down in the description below and also at the end of this video so you can check them out after watching this if you want to. But let's get right into it. So me and my family live in Oklahoma, and we had this trip planned for Wyoming, so we had a good drive to get out there. And on the way, it was interesting because I wasn't feeling very motivated about this shoot or about the trip and filming it. And that'll happen to me sometimes. Like, you know, I just, sometimes a project that intimidates me, even if it's one that I'm excited about doing, that intimidation will kind of dampen my enthusiasm. And I'm sure you're familiar with that if you're a filmmaker, just like not feeling inspired, not feeling motivated. But I was telling myself, when we get out there and we get to some awesome views, I'll get motivated. I know it's gonna happen, I just don't feel it right now. And I was right. The adventure began at a beautiful golden hour. We got off pavement in southern Wyoming, our first gravel road. We're going through this like otherworldly landscape in incredible lighting, and I was right away just like, oh yeah, I'm all about this, let's go. So when I think Wyoming, I think this is what I think. I think wide open spaces with mountains like in the distance and stuff. This is really cool. I'm doing
the lighting's sweet.
Okay, if you want to mic me up, I'm ready anytime you are.
Look at that shot. That's awesome.
A mistake I've made on some past trips is not capturing enough volume of interviews with my story characters on location. This is something I found is just super valuable to have. So I was really determined on this trip to make a point, like a priority in my filming, of getting those interviews. And this will be like formal sit down, talk to me interviews, or kind of run and gun kind of ones like this one, interviewing Katie while she's cooking dinner. And also just the ones where I get somebody's live perspective on what's going on, kind of like you would in a vlog, like, hey, what's going on? Talk to me about it, like that kind of thing. So I was determined to get a lot of that this trip, and I got some wireless lavalier microphones actually for the first time for capturing better audio. I didn't have the gain levels quite figured out at the time, and so some of this audio was clipping.
Oh, I know what I was gonna say. That will always be very special to me.
That was kind of a persistent issue throughout the trip, but it didn't end up being a huge problem because I captured what I needed for the video, but still something that could have been a little bit better. Unsurprisingly, the cats are accompanying me out here. Let's go. I swapped out to my 50mm f1.8 prime lens for this evening shoot. And I want to talk real quick about the gear I had on this trip. So I had two mirrorless cameras, my Lumix S5 II and my Lumix G85. The S5 II was like the A cam, and the G85 was BTS cam, time-lapse cam, you know, things like that. I had two action cameras, my DJI Action 3 and my GoPro Hero 5, which I figured out before this trip how I could stabilize the footage and post using GyroFlow, and so I was able to get actually some really usable footage. The Hero 5, I think before the Hero 7, didn't have very good stabilization at all. At least not compared to like the hyper smooth stuff that they have now. But anyway, suffice it to say I had two working action cameras. I also had a drone, the DJI Mini 2, which all the drone footage you see in this video is from a Mini 2. And I think it's just a testament to the fact that it's not necessarily about the drone you have, it's about, well, one, the place you are, the vistas you have to look at, but also the composition and you know, what you're doing with your drone. You can push the limits with anything you have and get some awesome stuff. It doesn't have to be a Mavic 4 Pro. For audio, I was using a Deity D4 Mini and a Rode Video Micro, I think, shotgun mic for the two cameras, as well as my Boya mic wireless microphone system. I'll put all these links down in the description below so you guys can just see exactly what I have to create what you're seeing. Oh yeah, lenses. I shot almost everything on my kit lens, a 20 to 60 millimeter f3.5 to 5.6 L-mount kit lens for all the S5 II stuff. On the G85, it was the kit lens for that camera, the 12 to 60. And then I also have the 50 millimeter f1.8 I mentioned. That was for low light stuff. I got some really cool stuff with that lens. I'm very happy I had it along because it's got a different quality to it as well. It's not just better for low light, it's got a nice look to the footage. For 3 or 4 shots, I also had a 70 to 200 millimeter lens that was actually one that my dad had for his old Minolta camera, but I was able to adapt it with an L mount or a Micro Four Thirds mount for the 2 cameras to use it on my current cameras. And that came in handy. We'll see specifically why a little later on in the video. And I think that was everything. Lighting wise, all I had to manipulate lighting was a 5-in-1 reflector diffuser that I got for this trip. Anyway, let's get back to filming that evening. So this scene was really fun to film. I shot it all on my 50 millimeter, like I said. And I especially like this shot because of the nice lighting contrast. You have the warm firelight contrasted with the comparatively cool background lights for one thing, but you also have good contrast between light and dark areas with the background illuminated to help build the foundation of the scene. So you kind of, if it was just a black background, it wouldn't have much interest to it. But that background light is also serving as a rim light to separate the subjects from the background. You can see around the edge of their heads, on their hair, it's separating them and creating some good contrast with the background. I'm not always thinking about all these things while I'm filming a shot, but it's helpful to kind of break it down after the fact to see why it is you like a particular shot that you like. So hopefully you can recreate that in the future. For me, this trip brings with it some uncertainties. It's the longest overlanding trip we've had, and with that comes some uncertainty in the film production side of things that I really enjoy, but there is some pressure on it a little bit because there's things like, storage space and, it's going to be cold. Is that going to zap my batteries and just things like that? I don't know how it's going to go. Like the whole filming thing might completely unravel. But just some things like that that have me a little apprehensive. And this is kind of like my first time filming a trip like this with a really professional level setup now. Camera, equipment, stuff like that. And I want to do a good job. I want it to go well. So we met up with my parents who are going to be joining us for portions of the drive on this trip. And at our first lunch spot, we had like a team meeting to just like discuss and figure out what our plan was going to be for the rest of the trip. I'm not very involved in those like logistics discussions. So it's just like an opportunity for me to capture B-roll of the team meeting and discussion and get some cool angles of that. And something I was trying to build out on this portion of the video, this portion of the trip, was the connection between us kids, me and my brother and sister-in-law, and our parents, and kind of the significance of us going on an adventure like this together and all that kind of thing. So I was trying to capture shots of Isaac and Dad talking, figuring things out, that kind of thing. And then this is just Dad trying to recreate a signature shot from one of my other overlanding trips. All right, so we're at our second camp on our Wyoming trip, and we got into camp nice and early. I don't know when I'll have more downtime, so I wanted to go ahead and balance my gimbal because I packed it up for storage. It's a DJI RS3 Mini. The gimbal is a great tool to have, but not one that I plan on using like more than once or twice a day. So I just want to have it ready to go so I don't have to balance it when I need it. Generally speaking though, I am getting all of my shots just handheld with the Lumix S5 II. I'm envisioning one particular shot that I might try to pull off like when we're packing up from camp. And for that one, I would want to have the gimbal. So I'm gonna balance it so it's all ready to get to work when I need it to. And for this, I have notes on my phone, which I hope saved offline because I'm not connected to internet. The roll should be at 0.4. And of course, double check to make sure everything's pretty good with the camera right now, but that should get me pretty close so I don't have to do too much fiddling. All I'm gonna do here is go to the top left setting, where there's calibration, start calibration. I'm gonna set it down on the smooth or relatively flat surface and let it calibrate, and that should be all we need to do to get it nice and smooth and ready to go. And the RS3 Mini and S5 II are all ready to go and get some work done. What I find is on shoots like this, on overlanding trips, it's so run and gun. Like we just come over a ridge, see something I want to grab, and we're trying to keep moving too to get onto the next camp, keep on schedule and everything. So there's not a lot of extra time to set up a gimbal. and your talent starts to get fidgety if you take too much time. So probably because of that, and just because there's not a lot of application for it, I don't use a gimbal very much. But like I said, a couple of applications, definitely it does come in handy. I would say having 2 camera bodies is borderline critical if you're going to be doing any time-lapse stuff. I mean, I did do some time-lapses also on my action camera, which that's what I've done in the past, but it's really neat to have a camera to get time-lapses on. And I had the G85, I was able to set it up on a tripod like for this evening sunset shot. I just set it up there running for hours at a time, but I was able to keep my S5 II rolling, shooting the dinner and campfire story and all of that. Definitely something to keep in the back of your mind. Like if you upgrade your camera, don't just get rid of the old one because it's old. I'm not sure anybody does that anyway, but it's useful to have a couple of cameras around, even if you aren't like shooting multicam stuff or anything like that. All-time greatest camp so far. Filming has been going well. Mornings are always tough because your fingers get so cold when you're running the camera and stuff, but we're getting some great drone shots. I'm trying to use the drone more as another camera, significant part of the filming rather than just like here and there we get some drone shots. So that's been kind of neat to implement that, and the scenery certainly has not been disappointing. It's really easy to make great videos when you're in terrain like this. I don't do very much of any pre-production that you could really call pre-production on these shoots because it's just so unpredictable. I don't even know really where we're going to be going. So it's really hard to plan out any shots or anything like that. I did go into the shoot though with a little bit more than I sometimes have, because there were 2 specific shots that I knew I wanted to try to get that would just be very Wyoming-y, like really show the environment we were in. Signature classic Wyoming shots, I felt like. One was going to be a super long zoomy shot with that zoom lens I was talking about, looking down a straight stretch of road with the trucks coming at me and mountains behind. And the other was some kind of reveal with the drone from up on a mountainside with like a rock spire, rock outcropping, revealing out to the side to show the truck driving down below. Something along those lines. That was all I had in my mind, but it was looking like today might be the day those shots were going to happen. Whew. A little sketchy on this one. Yeah. For all the on-vehicle footage you're seeing, I used a magnet mount for my action camera. It's one I actually made myself. I'll put the link right up here if you guys want to check out how I did it. And then for anything inside the vehicle, I was just using a cheap little suction cup action camera mount from Amazon. I'll put that link down below as well. Just suction cup to the windshield for the most part for the shots looking back. These are pretty important shots for what I'm trying to do because it's showing our reaction. It's showing a face-on shot of everybody in the vehicle that you can't really get with any vlogging or anything like that. These shots, I think they just add a ton of production value. And it's funny because like the footage isn't the highest quality. I mean, it's action camera footage. It's a little grainy, a little warped. It's not just super cinematic, but having these variety angles, they build out the story and build out what you're experiencing and all of that. It's a great thing to incorporate into these videos.
All good?
Wow! So pro tip time. If you're filming with a drone in the mountains, you may want to turn off your 400-foot altitude limit. A lot of drones will ship with a 400-foot altitude limit, which is great because that's how high the FAA allows you to fly over ground level. But the thing is, you're actually allowed to fly 400 feet over the ground that's below your drone. And if you're flying up the side of a mountain, you're allowed to fly 400 feet over that mountain, however tall it is. So you could be thousands of feet above the valley floor, above where you are even, as long as you are within 400 feet of that mountainside. So that came in clutch in this McDougal Gap portion of the road we were driving on, because I got way up the side of the mountains. I was able to get some incredible vantage points, like this top-down angle. On the switchback we were driving on, I added a little dolly zoom effect in post to accentuate it. Just a super cool shot. And then I finally found the reveal I was envisioning with this rock outcropping. And this is a couple thousand feet up off the valley floor, but I get this awesome reveal out showing the rest of the surroundings. Super awesome shot. My only regret looking back on it now is that the truck is so far down in the valley that it's not a very big part of the story. Like that's us down in the valley floor, driving along on that curving road. Really neat, but it's just so far down there that unless you're looking for it, probably people aren't really noticing it. So that's kind of a bummer, but it's a super cool shot nonetheless. Let's talk real quick about charging. Obviously, that's one of the challenges of a camping trip filming is you don't have a lot of ready access to outlets. I used an inverter plugged into the 12-volt output in the back seat of the truck, and I had my wall plugs plugged into that and was charging batteries constantly as we're driving along, just a constant rotation of batteries. Every time I run out of drone battery, plug it in and start charging. You don't want to get behind that cycle or you'll end up in a situation where you need a battery and you don't have one. So that's what I'm trying to avoid. I also have my portable solar generator, which I just use as a battery bank. And I like plug my laptop into that and stuff at night, at evening at the campsites. And that was handy as well. But the biggest thing was just the continuous charging while we're rolling. I didn't use my 5-in-1 reflector just a whole lot on this trip, but anytime I had the opportunity, I would try to remember to pull it out. And at this next lunch spot, we had a little bit of time, so we sat down and we shot some more kind of formal interviews, not just run and gun interviews. And I had somebody hold the reflector. We shot these in the shade with this mountain behind, and then we bounced some light back on their face. It's pretty subtle. I mean, you barely notice it, but it adds just a little touch of production value. I'll get to at the end of the video where I used it to the greatest effect. But for the most part, it was just some gentle bounce light just to brighten up faces just a little bit. Okay, so this is our big shot of this part of the trip. And that is super long zoomy here. So they're like a half mile away. So we drove one vehicle ahead to drop me off. I'm setting up my long lens here. And we got those mountains behind, so I think it's gonna be pretty epic. We'll see how it looks. We're gonna shoot this in 60 frames per second so we can get a sweet slow-mo. At least that's my plan. So we're gonna dial in that focus right there and let's roll. All right, so starting that recording. Boom. All right, come ahead on.
Any particular speed?
Yeah, nice, good speed would be great.
How close are you?
Lots of dust?
As much, the more the merrier. Just kidding, however much you're comfortable with. But it's gonna be slow motion, so it'll be epic. And we're running out of battery, so just bring it on.
Here they come.
Yep, so here they come. It's a pretty good shot. Little vibration to the camera. Not much I can do about that. So we have that shot. I'm gonna change the focal length a little bit.
I'll roll on by you?
Sure. It's trying to avoid some dust there.
Does that work?
Oh, I don't know.
How do we feel about that?
Pretty cool shot. Hopefully, yeah, I mean, everything's locked up here. We should be fine, but whew. Yeah, so a successful shot. We got it. I haven't ever done one quite like that before, so that was pretty neat. That was a really cool shot. So we exit the Wyoming range of mountains and we're headed over to the Wind River range. And this is like the big sky Wyoming ranch country with awesome jagged mountains in the background. I wanted to capture this landscape with a drone, so I put it up and got just what I considered some of my best shots ever. And my mic was still running from the long zoom shot scene, so you actually have some audio of what I'm talking through as I'm flying too. All right, if you can keep it below 30, it'd be great just for right now. I'm gonna try to get in front of both of us. Oh, we got the aspens back there. I wanna look behind us and then cut to in front. I can't keep up.
Slow down a little bit.
Oh, that's a good speed if we can keep that up. Nothing, no obstructions along the road here right now.
No.
I'm gonna try to bring it in even closer.
You're really low. You're really low.
Close to the hood.
I see you. I'm gonna pan in front of you.
Okay.
I'm gonna swing around and turn the other direction. Now, on that side, you got a log post thing, but you're good now. With
Yeah, you're good.
I'm sure I'm good. Woo! All right. Something I've been learning about more recently. is the difference it makes shooting on the light side of the face versus the dark side of the face. Look how big a difference that makes in the contrast. Isn't that crazy? Stuff that I get excited about. Our third camp was one of my favorite moments of the whole trip. And it was punctuated, again, by some awesome drone footage and some amazing vistas. Some of my best shots ever. You might be seeing a theme here. Lots of good drone footage on this trip. But the expression that comes to mind is, these are the moments I live for. That's not strictly true, because I have more to live for than filmmaking, but you get the idea. This kind of thing is what gets me the most excited, and I just love capturing awesome shots like this.
What? Let's go. Walk over to Katie. You're walking over toward dinner.
Okay,
This is a
okay.
transition to dinner shot.
I see. Okay.
And action. Do that, and we'll do it twice, okay? This one, I'll have the focus on the wood. Go ahead. A little faster, like hit it, and
Okay.
hit the axe. Then you'll pull the axe out, do the axe one more
Okay,
time
okay,
for a
okay.
wide shot. Okay?
Ready?
Yeah, action.
This was an amazing spot, and like these silhouette shots during the campfire, Isaac setting it up. It's kind of a bold shot, but it's really cool. It's a neat take having everything in the foreground dark except that fire. And then even after dark, with the low light performance on the S5 II, I was able to throw the 50mm f1.8 on there and get this shot. It's capturing a totally usable shot, even in basically pitch black. All right, light's basically done anyway, so it's probably our last shot of the day. So on the first couple of overlanding trips that I filmed, I fit everything on one SD card, or at least one ACAM SD card. I had two cameras, so you know, it was technically two SD cards. But on the original, the Expedition Colorado, which was the first big trip I filmed, it's on this YouTube channel actually if you want to watch the film that I made from that trip. I'll link it right up here. I filmed that on a Sony Handycam, one of those camcorders with, you know, ultra zoom on it, which was handy. I got some cool shots with that. But I fit everything on one, I think, 64GB SD card. On God's Country, which I made a film about also, and it's not on this YouTube channel, maybe someday, we'll see. I was filming on my Lumix G85 here, and I fit everything on one 64GB SD card. I filmed that in 1080p, 24 frames per second. But now, back home, I have the infrastructure to support editing and storing 4K videos. I'm going for quality over saving space on storage. But what that means is I have to offload footage to make room on my SD cards because I fill them up pretty quickly. So backing up footage, you can see my laptop here, is a significant part of my evening routine at camp here. So I have a redundant backup situation because I want to make sure I don't lose anything. So I have a Seagate 2TB hard drive. It's a spinning disk hard drive. Pretty basic one off Amazon. They're like 70 bucks for this. Now hard drives aren't the greatest for unpredictable environments like we have here in the wilderness. So what I have for my other side of the redundant backup is these SanDisk Extreme Pros, which are great solid state drives. So I have redundant backup, one's hard drive, one's solid state. So I'm just gonna get all this stuff transferred over. This takes, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, but I can kind of let it sit here and run while I go and hang out at the campfire, do whatever camp stuff. So it's really not much of a hardship. If it gets real cold though, it is kind of challenging on the fingers and that kind of thing. I just have kind of a station set up here on the tailgate of the truck. But so far it is working out pretty well. I'm around a little over 100 gigabytes per day. So I got about 1.5 terabytes worth of storage here, so I should be okay for this 6-day trip.
Okay, that's cool.
The day was capped off with showing Isaac and Katie some of those awesome drone shots I'd gotten at Golden Hour.
Ooh.
Oh my word.
Ooh. Oh, that reveal.
Oh my goodness.
Ah.
Oh
So
my
that's
goodness.
like, that to me, that's like the end of that like cold open. I think it's gonna like end like with that shot. And then 3 hours earlier. Okay, so we are back.
Oh my.
This is a rare instance when I actually envisioned what the final video was going to be while I was shooting it. Usually I just shoot like crazy and then come back and figure out what to do with it all. But here I actually had an idea how I was going to structure these videos, which was kind of cool.
I want to see that
that's
again.
cool.
Let me see it again.
Okay. And then getting that little experience at the end of the day kind of makes it worth it. Like at the end of the day, I'm making a film to be enjoyed by people. And my first viewers are us who are actually on the trip. So
pretty fun.
I mentioned time lapses earlier, and I did learn something about shooting time lapses with a mirrorless camera on this trip, and that is you kind of need to lock in your exposure when you're shooting those, especially if you're shooting something with changing lighting like a sunset or sunrise, or you might end up with something like I did on this shot where the exposure is jumping every few seconds in the time lapse. And it's kind of disappointing because it made these shots really difficult to use. I was able to do some work and make do with one of them, but definitely not ideal. Okay, you can stop whenever.
Okay, I couldn't tell if you're trying to film with the gimbal or what.
So we get to this awesome overlook, and you guessed it, I get the drone out, get some awesome footage.
Before we could come down, that was crazy steep. Whoa!
You're right next to me.
Whoa!
But I had the action camera running in the back of the truck, and it captured a moment that I feel like really tells the story of what it's like to shoot these adventures. They're seeing this awesome vista, and they're stoked about it. And I'm still in the truck, looking at my phone screen. It should be clear by now, I truly love what I'm doing here. Like, I love filming these. There's nothing better. But I also love experiencing these things firsthand. I mean, I'm arguably seeing a cooler vantage point of this view than they're seeing, but it's not firsthand. It's like I'm watching a super cool video on my phone and they're actually living it. So this is kind of the juxtaposition of my experience on these trips. I want to create a super awesome video, but I also want to remember being there myself, being where my feet are. And I gotta think this is something that adventure filmmakers across the board probably deal with, because you have to have some passion for the outdoors to create a compelling film about the outdoors, I think.
Oh, I really want to be out there. I gotta get out there.
And so on this overlook, I took 10, 15 minutes to just put the camera down and just be in the moment with these people I love, in this place that I am just blown away by, just to make sure that I soaked in how special this moment was. And it reminds me of a scene in The Secret Life of Walter Mitty with Ben Stiller when he finally catches up with the photographer he's been chasing. And this photographer is talking about how sometimes he wants to experience a moment for himself without the distraction of the camera. And that's really how it can be out here. Sometimes it's just so amazing that you gotta put the camera away for a bit to make sure you're experiencing it and remembering it for everything it really is.
Boy, oh boy. I hadn't seen this view. I came back here to get a farther zoomed lens shot, turned around. Let me zoom in for you. I mean, that's the kind of thing that just lights me up. It's just awesome. Oh, so cool.
And this is actual footage of me losing my mind about how awesome this shot looked. I don't know if you're seeing it like I was seeing it, but to me, this was just like the most incredible thing ever. And so I played around with this vantage point for a few more shots, including this one of the three of us together, which ended up being like the hero shot of the whole film. All along the way, I'm looking for opportunities to shoot impromptu interviews with people and capture as much volume of live audio from the time as I can. The way I do these films is I do have some voiceover narration, but I try to use it only when necessary. If I have content shot at the time that conveys the information and all the details needed, I try to use that whenever I can because it maintains the realism and just the immersiveness of the story. And I'll vlog a little bit here and there too if I want to fill in some gaps and kind of share my perspective. But lately I've been really embracing being the guy behind the camera and not feeling the need to insert myself as the main character in every story. And it's kind of been refreshing after years of always pointing the camera at myself. Because in these films about the outdoors, I'm not really the main character. I'm along for the ride. I'm filming, I'm having a great time, I love it, but really like Isaac usually is the spearheading guy. He's kind of the driving force of the story, the one that's making this all happen. And so it's just been kind of a natural progression for me to be okay not being the guy that is saying all the words, you know?
There it goes.
This day finally came to an end, but it had been stacked from beginning to end with one filming highlight after another. And 100% the best filmmaking day of my life. And for me, that makes it one of the best days of my life, period. The last thing I captured on this whole shoot was the closeout interviews, because I've learned in previous shoots on shooting the Middle Fork film that I have got to prioritize getting those on location. I talked about that in the behind the scenes video from the Middle Fork film. If you want to watch that, I'll link it right up here. It's just something I've learned in my process. It's really valuable to have these kind of retrospective interviews talking about what the trip meant to you, or what did you learn on this trip, or what was your favorite part, things like that. And you might not even use them. Like, you never know how the edit's gonna speak to you when you get in there, but if you don't have them, you definitely can't use them. So I've learned to really try to capture those. So we were all finished with the overlanding part of the trip, and we had some time before we had to be heading home. So we started driving around looking for a spot to shoot these interviews, because I wanted to like be intentional with it. Basically, I didn't want it just to be like, well, the trip's over, let's shoot this in a parking lot or something. Like, I wanted to really take some thought to make these look as good as I could. So we turned up this spot. It was like a trailhead or something. We could see the Tetons in the background, which is really what I was looking for. So I had Isaac strategically place the truck in the background, stuck my subject on the left or right third of the frame to balance it, sat down behind the camera to ask some questions, and I had the third person hold up the diffuser to create this nice soft lighting. This is really the most significant use I had for the 5-in-1 diffuser reflector. You can see the before and after here, how much difference it made for this shot. I've always had my interview subjects look directly into camera on these shoots, and it kind of made the most sense when I was first coming up and making these vlogumentaries. Since then, I've changed that a little bit. I'll have people look off camera in a more kind of traditional interview kind of look, because it does help relax the person if they can just ignore the camera, and you get more like authentic conversation out of that. But looking into camera does create a very direct connection with the viewer, just peering into their soul. And so they kind of both have their place. So we got some good content in these interviews, even if maybe it wasn't as natural as it could have been.
Yep, okay.
I'm vociferous. I don't need any coaching. If anything, Levi's going, okay, you can stop talking now. Please stop talking. I have to edit this.
I consider these Expedition Wyoming films my best work to date. I hope you guys enjoyed coming along for the behind the scenes look at what it took to create them. Maybe you learned something, you know, kind of saw my process, which maybe it's not the best process. If you want to comment below something that I could learn, I'd love to hear from you guys, and also let me know what your favorite project has been and something that you learned along the way. I'd love to hear from you guys. And if you want to see the full 2-part film series, you can watch it right here. I'll see you guys in the next one.